Once upon a time, in the vast blue depths of the ocean, there lived a beautiful mermaid named Seraphina. She had long, flowing hair the color of sea foam and eyes that shimmered like pearls. Her tail sparkled in the sunlight, reflecting shades of turquoise and gold. She was kind, gentle, and loved by all the creatures of the sea. Seraphina lived in the underwater kingdom of Aquaria, a magical city built from coral and glowing pearls. The kingdom was ruled by King Triton, a wise and noble merman who treated his people with fairness. Seraphina was not a princess, but her heart was so pure and her spirit so bright that everyone in Aquaria adored her. Every morning, Seraphina would swim to the surface to watch the sunrise. She loved the way the golden rays danced upon the waves, and she often sang melodies so enchanting that even the dolphins would pause to listen. One day, while she was singing, a young sailor named Paleh heard her voice. He had been sailing near the shore, and her song was the most beautiful thing he had ever heard. Curious and mesmerized, Paleh rowed his boat closer. As he peered into the water, he saw Seraphina's shimmering tail disappear beneath the waves. He could hardly believe his eyes. Determined to see her again, he returned to the same spot every morning, hoping to catch another glimpse of the mysterious singer. Seraphina, too, had noticed Paleh. She found him fascinating, with his kind eyes and adventurous spirit. Though mermaids were forbidden from interacting with humans, she couldn't resist watching him from a distance. Day by day, their silent admiration for each other grew. One fateful day, a terrible storm struck the ocean. The sky darkened like ink, lightning slashed across the heavens, and the wind howled like a vengeful spirit. Waves the size of mountains crashed down, swallowing everything in their path. Paleh, caught in the chaos, struggled to steer his ship, but a monstrous wave lifted it high before slamming it down with bone-shattering force. The ship splintered, and Paleh was thrown into the abyss. Seraphina, watching from a coral ridge, felt her heart clench. She had to act fast. She darted through the raging waters, dodging jagged rocks and swirling whirlpools. As she reached Paleh, she saw his eyes flutter closed. Summoning all her strength, she wrapped her arms around him and fought against the furious current, pushing towards the shore. Suddenly, a shadow loomed beneath them. A sea serpent, awakened by the storm, rose from the depth, its glowing yellow eyes locking onto Seraphina. It let out an ear-splitting roar, the force of which sent a shockwave through the water. Seraphina's grip on Paleh tightened. She had no choice but to fight. With a flick of her shimmering tail, she darted around the beast, using her agility to dodge its snapping jaws. She grabbed a sharp coral shard from the ocean floor and, with a burst of courage, struck the serpent's eye. The creature let out a furious screech, writhing in pain before retreating into the darkness. Gasping for breath, Seraphina propelled herself and Paleh towards the surface, breaking through just as the storm began to subside. The moonlight kissed the waves as she carried him to the shore, laying him gently on the soft sand. When Paleh woke up, he found himself on the beach, safe but disoriented. His body ached, but his heart raced with something more powerful, an unshakable certainty that he had been saved by the mermaid. He turned to the sea and, for a fleeting moment, saw a figure with glistening hair and a shimmering tail vanish beneath the waves. Back in Aquaria, Seraphina was summoned before King Triton. News of her actions had spread, and the king was both proud and concerned. "You have a noble heart, Seraphina," he said gravely. "But you have drawn the eyes of the deep upon us. Humans and mermaids cannot exist together, it is the law of our world." Seraphina bowed her head, her heart aching. She knew the truth of his words, but it did not ease the sorrow of knowing she could never see Paleh again. Still, she was content knowing he was safe, his life no longer claimed by the sea. As time passed, Paleh never forgot the mermaid who had saved his life. He would often sit by the shore, singing the melodies he had once heard from her. And though their worlds were forever apart, the ocean carried their unspoken bond in every crashing wave and whispering tide. And so, the legend of the brave mermaid Seraphina and the fearless sailor Paleh lived on, passed down in songs and stories, reminding all who heard it that love, courage, And kindness know no boundaries, not even between land and sea. And that is the end of Out Story.